Okay, in relation to critics, we did a little something different. We listed some pros and cons of the musical itself, and some pros and cons in relation to an FHU student. But as you can see, Rage and Love, those consuming emotions felt with a particularly acute pain in youth, all burned up on the stage in American Idiot, the thrilling, raucous, and gorgeously wrought Broadway musical adapted from the blockbuster pop punk album by Green Day. That was by the critic from the New York Times. All the critics gave amazingly positive reviews in relation to the musical. There are a lot of negatives that we'll talk about as well in relation to the subject matter and that sort of thing. But it is exciting, it's real, it tells the story of teenagers engulfed in culture and the struggle to find themselves. And a con, depending on the generation, can be seen as offensive, crude, inappropriate, and of course loud. It's going to be one of the loudest musicals you've ever been to, and I'll say more about that in a minute. Concerning the FHU pulsating portrait of wasted youth that evokes all the standard genre conventions. Bring on the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, please. That is American Idiot, and that is Green Day. If you listen to their music, these things will be portrayed throughout the musical. The pro to this is it does show light on a different kind of world that typical FHU students would not be accustomed to. But it does deal with subject matter that you would not watch with your parents. I would never take my parents to see American Idiot because of some of the scenes and language that is used. Of course, it would never be watched at FHU for the language, drug use, sexual content. The reason why I can relate to this, I actually saw Spring Awakening about a month and a half ago. It has very similar subject matter and that sort of thing. So it is definitely very racy compared to a lot of different musicals. It's right by the Chicago Tribune. And thus, American Idiot, the show delivers a thick, gorgeous head rush and musical soundscape without current Broadway parallel. It turns out to offer the kind of sensual luscious that a lot of more traditional musicals would kill to emulate. The music and organization of the orchestra is truly genius. It echoes generational shift by its lyrics. The way, not only the scenic design, but also it will be very loud, but the way the orchestra is positioned around the actors of the whole stage creates definitely its own kind of energy in relation to the actors and the audience. And a lot of people don't know this, but the sound design of a show like this that's so loud is actually really difficult in a way to run. I like the headset mics that they wear. They wear a special kind of headset just because of the loudness, the decibel level that's created with the band, with the 8 members of the orchestra surrounding the actors. It's definitely not an easy type of show to run. Obviously, once again, the music is loud and punk. Songs are sung with anger and intensity, which can be viewed as negative, but truly portray what the musical is trying to get, what the musical is trying to show. Of course, concerning the FHU student, it talks about the sensualist Johnny who gets hooked on sex and drugs. The patriot Tunney gets sent to Iraq to suffer. Will gets his clipped by his pregnant girlfriend, as Chris Jones writes again at the Chicago Tribune. The pro is, whether it's relatable or not to the typical FHU audience, it relates to our generation effectively. It does. The reason I say this is I've seen this in my family, I've seen this in many friends, so it does portray our generation effectively in some ways and how they relate to struggles as they grow through life. Of course, the con is it's filled with suggestive and obvious references to sex, drugs, war, and alcohol. The way it portrays war in some ways can be positive, but in a lot of ways can be viewed as negative. The show opens up with clips of George Bush on the various television screens on stage, basically saying you're either with us or you're with the terrorists, so it can be viewed as positive and negative. As you can see in the picture, this is one of the war scenes. All of them are on stage with their underwear on, guys and girls alike. There's many, different, I guess, could be uncomfortable scenes seen on stage. About the scenic, every inch of the giant proscenium arch of the St. James is filled with the bold setting of Christine Jones, which allows for musicians to seamlessly perch in empty space while 3 different worlds whiz by beneath them. Yeah, the picture's really small, but the set is definitely huge. It's definitely incredible the way it is built around the stage and to incorporate really the actors.
You got a minute.
A minute. And the design. Tony Award, of course, first seen the design. Considering the FHU student, again, there's poetry here, deep, deep feeling, which the extraordinary cast helps us realize. Further, there's no way you can deny the deep inner struggle that is within these individuals, which I think is important for anybody to realize. Of course, it is relatable to Spring Awakening, Hair Rent. Some view this as the subject matter being overused and that sort of thing. And then we'll end with this. The 90 minutes made for such stimulating spectacle, I would happily sit through them again. It's a very energetic type of musical. Didn't think much about it before we started reading it, but the more I learned about it, I would definitely want to go see it just because of the different type of musical that it is.